Hi, I'm Representative Justin Chenette of House District 134, part of Saco, with this legislative update. There's a lot going on up in Augusta. We're really into the budget. The Appropriations Committee has been delving into different aspects, different departments, going line by line to see what we can save for cost savings to try to save the state money, and also how do we pay for essential programs and services, which leads into a discussion about tax reform. It tends to come up every session, but this time we have what's called the Gang of 11. You probably heard a little bit about it in the news. They came up with, this was a bipartisan group, and they came up with a tax proposal plan that essentially calls for a flat tax of 4% for income taxes, but raising the sales tax 1% and eliminating a bunch of sales exemptions and tax exemptions. This is just really the beginning of the conversation. It's kind of late in the season to really be delving into such a significant tax reform package, but it is somewhere where we can kind of start the conversation. Do we need to be reforming our tax system? Most would say yes, but what does that actually look like? Is this the actual plan that we need? I don't know. There's multiple plans on the table, not just this one, so I think that's important to point out. So we are combing through it. We're getting details. We're going through it line by line to see, is this going to be effective? I know a number of organizations and associations are against this from the business community. So figuring out what's going to work best in terms of relieving property tax burden on the local level while being able to, again, afford essential programs and services that we need at the state level. So we'll keep you updated as we know more in terms of the tax reform package, because it will look different than what it was originally proposed, because the Taxation Committee is in the process of hearing public hearings on a number of tax incentive programs. A number of other things going on. The speed limit bill, as it's been kind of referred to, my bill regarding basically transferring the jurisdiction from, in terms of raising or lowering the speed limit from the Transportation Committee to the Commissioner of Transportation and the entire Transportation Department, passed both the House and the Senate and is awaiting the governor's signature. And it's poised that he's potentially going to be hopefully signing that. So that's really exciting. Community service bill that I introduced passed the Education Committee, almost unanimous. It was one vote away from being a unanimous vote, and it passed the Senate. It's poised to pass the House. And again, this bill has changed from what was originally intended as a requirement for high school graduation to complete some level of community service as determined by the local school district, but this is now going to essentially be, instead of a requirement, it's just going to be another tool in the laundry list of evaluation models that individual schools can do and educators can use to grade students in order to obtain their diploma. So this could include, it already includes, quizzes, performances. Now it will include community service. There's a laundry list. And so now community service can be used. Service learning can be used as a tool to grade students. And this emphasizes multiple pathways, which is so critically important, because in 2017, we're going to be having new graduation standards that's going to emphasize this very fact. But this leads into an interesting conversation about school grading, because we've been hearing a lot about it in the news. And I find it funny that we're going to be trying to grade schools and are grading schools on a system that's designed around standardized testing. One test is going to essentially help determine a school's grade. Now, there's a number of other factors like graduation rates and so on and so forth, but when we're trying to focus on multiple pathways and recognizing that a student cannot be judged on their real-world success based on one test and filling in bubbles on a test, and how are we going to grade schools on that same model? We need to be having a system that is accountable. We need to be able to critique our education system in a way that doesn't demonize or demoralize our students and educators, but encourages growth and opportunity, encourages creativity in the classroom. That's what we need. Think outside the box and not focus in such a narrow viewpoint. I had conversations with the Education Commissioner, and I wanted to know these important aspects. Why grade schools on a narrow prism, while at the same time saying, you know what, No Child Left Behind is failing our kids. It's not working because it's a one size fits all approach to our education model. So this is an interesting conversation, because I think it's important for parents to know how their school is teaching their kids, how educators are doing, how the students are doing in comparison to other schools. But we need to really delve into education reform in a comprehensive way, and piecemealing it isn't going to work. We really have to take a look at it. And I would be in support of removing standardized testing. It didn't do me any good. I remember going into the SATs in high school and I wore a pin that says I am more than a test score, because I might not be a test taker, but I might be somebody who loves to help people. So community service is a platform for me. Or it might be using my hands in a trade or a different program. That's what we need to be focusing in on, and grading schools on a variety of ways. Or at least, at the very least, provide that information to parents to know that their kids are going to be competitive in this global marketplace. So those are some of the few things that are going on in Augusta. Things are happening very quickly now. We're going into double sessions, a morning session, afternoon committee, and an evening session. So if you want to stay updated with everything that's going on in Augusta, you can go to my website, justinchenette.com, or like me on Facebook and follow those updates as well. I'm Representative Justin Chenette of House District 134, part of Saco. Stay tuned and stay connected.